Hi everyone, this is Mike from FoMo Crawlers. This video will be the first in a series that I will be doing where I'm building a Mias Ripper TRX-4M build from parts. Today, I will cover how I set up the Injora oil-filled shocks. These are 53mm in size. I went ahead and removed all the pieces from the packaging, which is what you can see here. The first thing that I'm going to do is to remove the bottom spring support, and the way you do that is there's a slot cut out on it. You're just gonna push up, slide this off, and the spring comes out. One thing to note here, the packaging does come with two different spring types. The one that's installed on the shock bodies has a lower spring rate than the ones that are loose in the packaging. I'm actually going to go ahead and set this first spring aside, as I will be using the higher spring rate springs for the final assembly. Okay. One thing to note here before we start any disassembly is that this top preload nut needs to be lowered away from that top cap. So I'm just going to twist it down, give it some space, and then to open the cap you just twist. Okay, these shocks do come pre-filled with a minimal amount of oil, which you can kind of see here. It's like 1 or 2 drops, and what I'm going to do is just add, I'm going to be using 20 weight oil. I'm just going to add 6 drops. Okay, the next thing to do is to actuate the shaft up and down a couple times, and what I'm trying to do is move it through the range of motion to bleed out any air bubbles. Once I'm satisfied with, I don't see any bubbles, I'm gonna go ahead and put the shaft in the middle of the range of motion, which is about right here, and see, I'm gonna add a couple more drops of oil just to top it off. And now I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the cap. Now, don't worry too much if you feel like you've added too much oil. There is a weeping hole on the side of the cap, so as you tighten down, it will actually, oil will start to come out from there. Wipe off any excess, and now you can go ahead and put that collar back up higher. Now, if I mentioned in the beginning, you want to lower that collar, because if it's too high and you're trying to reattach the cap, you actually end up tightening the cap onto the collar and it's not fully sealed. So I'm going to go ahead and take the higher spring rate spring and install it back onto the shock body. The lower support slides back on, and there you have it. So just to compare, that is oil filled, that one is not. Okay, the next thing to do is to assemble on the bushings. So there are 2 types of bushings that they include in the packaging. The first one has just a straight, I don't know if you can see that, it's straight on one side, versus the other one has a lip on there. The one with the lip actually goes on the top of the shock body. So the way I set this up first is to install an O-ring. Okay, like that. And one thing to note here is when you install this onto the chassis, the screw is actually gonna tighten down on the side that has a larger face. And the reason for this is that the clamping load from torquing the screw has more surface area to distribute against versus if you do it on the smaller side. So just to remind myself which way is outwards, the cap does have the name Injora on one side, so I'm going to put that facing outwards to where I would attach the screw. Let's push that through, and now I'm going to install the second O-ring. Like that. Okay, and on the bottom, again, the bottom bushing looks like this. It's completely straight on one side. It doesn't matter which direction you actually install this one onto the bottom eyelet of the shock, because that shaft can rotate 360 degrees. I'm just gonna push it in. Like that. And that is a fully assembled shock. So again, when you install your screws, this is the surface that you want the screw head to tighten down against. If you found this content to be helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel. And I'll be adding a short clip that shows exactly how the 20 weight oil performs when installed on a similar Ripper TRX-4M build.